What does it take for an investor and a firm to win today after 10 years of bull run?
So I think the most important thing is, first of all, and I said this several years ago on your 20-minute VC, you have to have a comparative advantage, period. And you need to isolate it for you and your fund. Like, why me and why us? So for example, like our mutual friend Mike, when he meets a new investor, he always asks them this question. He loves doing this. He's great at it. He always says to them point blank, why should a top-tier founder like me take your money? And you need to have a sharp, differentiated answer to be successful. And the more differentiated, the more true that is, the better. And I think most investors either don't have that answer or forget. And so you don't want to be a commodity. You need to be special and you need to be treated special. You need to have, either difference, like comparative advantage somewhere. I remember I posted publicly my investment criteria, probably in 2017, and, on Twitter. And it was like, kind of a note that I published. And the last one that confused a lot of people was, the last question was, do I have a comparative advantage? And I take that pretty damn seriously. Like, why me? Why am I investing in this company? Because the general returns in venture are not strong at all. The general returns in 75, 80, and if you normalize against like the two hot periods of the last 50 years, like 1996 to 99, and take out like 2019 and 21, the returns are horrific, except in maybe the top 2 to 5, maybe 10% of venture. So if you don't have a strong answer to why you have a comparative advantage, you're going to regress to the middle of the bell curve. And the middle of the bell curve returns are just not acceptable, period. And so I always take that very, very, very seriously, and will often pass if I can't look in the mirror and say, this is why I have a comparative advantage. So like we talked about a couple of companies, Faire. Both the CEO and COO worked for me. I should be able to assess their abilities better than anybody else on the planet, period. And if I can't do that, I don't know why I'd be a VC. Stripe, we talked about, I helped build PayPal. I ran a large fraction of Square. I need to be able to understand Stripe pretty damn well, or I shouldn't be a VC. Mike was my best friend, was my best friend before he started the company. I definitely knew the traits that would lead to, the way he runs his company, the intentional culture, the tenacity, the resourcefulness. That was all there from maybe the first day I met him.
What if you're not the best for it, but it is incredible? Like, are you not going to do that deal?
Great question. I think at a fund, the first instinct is, do I have a partner who would be a really good pairing? And at KV, we did do this. I would consciously think David Wyden may be a really good partner for this specific, both market and founder, or Samir might be. There are times when Samir would be a much better partner, for example, than I would be to a specific founder. It depends again, or Vinod can be, or Sven. It really depends what the company's doing and the founder's skill set. So the first instinct would be, okay, I don't really feel I have a comparative advantage, but our fund may, or someone else at the fund may be. Let's introduce them and see if that kind of partnership can work really well. So this does work. Now, the answer may be within our fund, whether it's Founders Fund.
Do you think funds actually do that, though? I mean, dude, we know Midas lists are formed by
we definitely, KV, we absolutely do that all the time, like every week, really instantly. At Founders Fund, we did it too, but more on an ad hoc basis, not systematic. But at KV, it was very systematic, like top down. Even Vinod sometimes would say, let's say something came in to me, he might say, hey, don't you think like Sven or Samir or David would be a better partner? The way we usually resolve it, if for example, it wasn't clear, sometimes we'd actually tell the founder, hey, you get a choice. Like a Founders Fund, we might say, hey, you get a choice. Why don't you meet with 3 or 4 people and see who you think would be most useful and who's the right pairing? So that's my normal default is, if not me, is there somebody else I have conviction about? And then if not our fund, then it's a much more complicated decision of what to do.